along the streets of Freiburg. Hello there. Talk about a power trip. Pretty nice. The Freiburg Tree Project, you can see that Freiburg's going underway. And hopefully we're going to make decisions in which history doesn't repeat itself. When the founding fathers really started Main Street with Dutch elms, well, the Dutch elms, we all know, went the way of the dodo, right? They died out. And then we have green ash trees predominantly on Main Street. And green ash trees were first succumbed by a fungus and then by the emerald ash borer. So most of the trees on Main Street are looking as decrepit as they are. So thanks to the work of the MESA students, we had started a study, gave our findings to the town, and from there, some work has started that we're very, very proud of. How are we doing now, Mr. Hammer? Ready to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I begin, thank you so much. We will have an intermission. Peter, thank you again, Peter, so much for taking care of the programs. Very much appreciate that. So we'll have we'll give about like 18 speeches or so. There'll be an intermission. And thank you, whoever just did that. So at this time, in the land if you have one of these things, probably you want to put it on silence. Maybe. Okay. One of my favorite times ever here at MESA is we had Anna Plessinger, who's probably like really, really old by now. Anyways, Anna's here giving her speech, and her dad's cell phone goes off. And I remember where it was. He was dead center, and the death stare that she gave her dad. It was awesome. So, please, if you want to avoid the death stare, make sure you silence your phones. Thank you so much. If you can wait to get up to use the bathroom or what have you, in between speakers, that's great. If any of you, if it gets really, really inclement and uncomfortable for you, I highly recommend getting up and going across the street to the MESA wings. We have the ACs blasted, so if anyone needs a break from the heat, okay? Without further ado, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Different set of eyeballs. There we go. Greetings and salutations, esteemed faculty, cherished family members, and fellow students. I'm honored to stand before you today. My name is Jotham Oliver, and I stand here not just as a teacher, but as a proud member of the Freiburg community. Hey, this isn't so bad so far. 47 years ago, I was born in this very town. As a youngster, I inspired to be cool. But growing up in Freiburg, I never knew anyone cool. That was until the class of 2029 came. This class, my dear friends, is the reason I wake up every morning. Their energy and enthusiasm and unique personalities, can I stress the unique personalities part, have transformed our school into the place of joy and learning. They have taught me more than I could ever teach them. But alas, this class will not be here next year. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is due to the moving on of the class of 2029. I will hold this class near and dear to my heart forever. Whether it's Darlene with her sow cow, in quotations, you do a sow cow. Or Ezra skiing with a skiing technique that defies gravity. Pretend to ski, making sure you put your hips into it. I'm going to hurt myself. Or Telly with her gymnastics routines that leave us in awe. Kick your leg up and point in the air with a whoosh. Whoosh. These moments will be forever etched in our memories, that's for sure now. The class of 2029 have taught me how to care for my students properly. This is the compassion I've learned from Mohammed, the prophet of mercy, Avery Jordan, and Peter Priestman. This is a legacy of change I've inherited from Ryan True, Nelson Mandela, and Hannah Oliver. This class reminded me of what being a teacher was. When you look around, their dedication, resilience, and camaraderie have set a standard for all those who follow. They have shown us the power of unity and the importance of lifting each other up. As they embark on their journey, let us remember the lessons they have imparted on us. Let us carry forward in their spirit of kindness. That's pretty good. Their thirst for knowledge and their unwavering beliefs in themselves. To the class of 2029, thank you. Thank you for being the light that illuminated our path. Your legacy will continue to inspire us. May you continue to go forth with courage, compassion, and knowledge that you have made a difference. Thank you. Oh my gosh! Stay for a few seconds and take a tissue. You guys are sick. All right. All right. Peter, I think we both can agree that's a better way to start your speech this year. There we go.
I am not a bad person. Nobody is a bad person. You are not a good person. I am not a good person. Nobody here is a good person. This is what I believe. I believe we're stuck on a train track, unable to derail. Our future is set out for us. Not by God, not by parents, and certainly not by you. This is what I believe. I am not expecting you to change your viewpoint or anything more. You might say to me, train tracks have levers, intersections, stations, and stops. You might say that you have this choice, lever in hand. The decision that you make to pull that lever or let it be can be predicted. It all stems from your beliefs. Your beliefs affect your actions, how you conduct yourself in this world. Your actions affect the way that events play out. Your events in your life, or what happens to you, affect your beliefs. So, you're stuck in a loop. Ever since you were born, your beliefs were formed and your path was set. When I brought this up at the dinner table, my mom said to me, "So, does it not matter if I try? If you just slack off for the rest of your life, will it be all right?" If you choose to believe this, then you have to realize that there's a difference between having faith that the world has a plan for you and relying on that fact. You shouldn't let yourself fall, even if there's a safety net. So, how does this make you, anybody here, not a bad person? If you're stuck on this train track of your own beliefs and you can't derail yourself, then how can you be a good or bad person if you aren't the one in control? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charlie McDonald, and I'm in 6th grade, and I'm reciting JFK's Why Go to the Moon speech. We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own, and whether it be used as a force of good or ill depends on man. And only if the United States occupies a position of preeminence can we decide whether this new sea will be an ocean of peace or a terrifying new theater of war. I do not say that we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space any more than we go unprotected against the misuse of land or sea. But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war, without repeating the mistakes that man has made in extending his writ around this globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all, and its conquest deserves the best of all mankind. And its opportunity for peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they might as well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. And because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that goal is one which we are willing to accept, one which we are unwilling to postpone, and one which we intend to win, and the others too. Thank you.
My name is Avery Jordan. I'm in 8th grade, and I wrote my own speech. Have any of you guys ever thought about what our oceans will look like in 100 years? Well, I have. And from the looks of it, it's not good. Estimates show sea levels could rise 0.3 to 2.1 meters by the end of the 21st century. And by 2048, if nothing changes from now, the world's ocean will be completely emptied of fish. So 100 years? Using satellite images and estimates, 24 to 75% of just California beaches will become completely eroded by 2100. And it's estimated oceans will be so polluted they will be unusable. Our oceans are facing major threats, including global warming, pollution, huge gas emissions, and overfishing. These things are causing our oceans to slowly die and creating a very dark future. Now, is this really what the future beholds? Maybe, maybe not. If we keep doing these harsh actions, then yes. But if we want our oceans to stop dying, we need to change. So that leads to the question, how can we? How can we help our oceans from dying? Well, there are small things that every single person can do. One thing includes being a boat inspector. What boat inspectors do is they check every boat before they enter the lake to make sure they aren't carrying any invasive species like milfoil. This might seem like a very small job, but it makes a huge impact. Think of how much invasive species could have gotten to the lake and creating a huge different and negative impact. It's a lot. Some more things you can do in your every single day life include saving electricity, heat, power. All of these things are powered by coal, oil, and gas, which are burning fossil fuels and contribute to global warming. More things you can do is pick up any litter you see, recycle, and clean the whole beach to reduce the amount of pollution. Invest in metal straws, plastic, non-plastic bags, as well as metal water bottles to reduce the amount of just throwing away plastic. Now, some people might say, why protect our oceans and lakes? Why matter? Well, the answer may be right in front of you. I know for me, since I live right by the beach, go to Florida once a year, and spend a lot of time camping on the ocean, I spend a lot of time in the water. It inspires me every day when I see new creatures and environments and think that someday that might not exist. In my past summer and spring, I spent almost every day snorkeling and boating with my dad. I've seen 2 catfishes with hundreds of babies, huge schools of minnows and bass, different species of turtles like painter, box, and snapping turtles. I've seen dolphins, manatees, and even a baby octopus. I have made so many amazing memories that I want to make more of and thought of ways that I could. I thought of a job I could do to have fun as well as do efforts to protect this environment. I came up with a marine biologist. The definition of marine biology is someone who studies the biology of marine life. A lot of people ask, why? Why a marine biologist? Well, it's really for the experience. I want to be able to spend time in the ocean protecting and saving our environments while still making memories that will last a lifetime. All of my experiences and passion inspired me to write this speech and make efforts to protect and save our oceans, spread awareness, and hopefully encourage you all to do so as well. So much of the ocean hasn't been explored yet. There could be new life and new intelligence that we don't know about. And that is why it is so important to research, learn, and save our oceans. Everyone has their own responsibilities and impacts on our world. You can choose if you want yours to be positive or negative. I want to end on one last question. If we won't protect this planet, then who will? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Clark. I'm in 7th grade, and the speech that I chose this year is I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King Jr. I'm happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the history of our nation. I'm not unmindful that some of you have come here out of the great trials and some of you have come here fresh in our jail cells. Some of you have come here from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi. Go back to Alabama. Go back to Louisiana. Go back to the ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. Let us not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friends, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day, on the red hills of Georgia, the son of former slaves and the son of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, in the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed to an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its government having its lips dripping with the words of interposition and nucleation, one day, right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be extended, every hill and mountain shall be made low, The rough places shall be made plain, and the crooked places shall be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all of flesh shall see it together.
Hi. Hi, my name. Hi, my name is Alex Hartman, and I'm in seventh, and I will be doing Proclamation 5335 by Ronald Reagan on Dr. Jonas E. Salk Day. I would like to give a quick forward on this speech. This speech was written like almost exactly 40 years ago, and it highlights a disease called polio or poliomyelitis that occurred throughout the world, mainly in the late 40s and 50s, coming to a stop around 1955. This speech also says something, mentions that I'm Ronald Reagan. If you couldn't tell, I am not Ronald Reagan. Anyway, so without further ado, one of the greatest challenges to mankind has always been eradicating the presence of debilitating disease. Until just 30 years ago, polio was around the world and throughout the nation in epidemic proportions, striking tens of thousands and killing thousands in our own country each year. Dr. Jonas E. Salk changed all of that. This year, we observe the 30th anniversary of the licensing and manufacturing of the vaccine discovered by this great American. Even before another successful vaccine was discovered, Dr. Salk's discovery had reduced polio and its effects by 97%. Today, polio is not a familiar disease to younger Americans, and many have difficulty appreciating the magnitude of the disorder that the vaccine virtually wiped from the face of the earth. Dr. Salk always had a passion for science. It was because of this that he finally chose medicine over law as his career goal. Even after his great discovery, he continued to undertake vital studies and medical research to benefit his fellow man. Under his vision and leadership, the Salk Institute for Biological Studies has been at the forefront of basic biological research, reaping further benefits for mankind in basic biological research. In recognition of his tremendous contributions to society, particularly in the apocal role of the discovery of the first licensed vaccine for poliomyelitis, and in celebration of the 30th anniversary of its mass distribution, the Congress, by House Joint Resolution 258, has designated May 6, 1985 as Dr. Jonas E. Salk Day, and authorized and requested the President to issue a proclamation in observance of this event. Now, therefore I, Ronald Reagan, President of the United States of America, do hereby proclaim May 6, 1985 as Dr. Jonas E. Salk Day. And I urge the people of the United States to observe the day with appropriate tributes, ceremonies, and activities throughout the nation, and by paying honor to all times to this outstanding physician in his life's work. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand this 6th day of May, in the year of our Lord, 1985, in the independence of the United States, 209th. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Lainey Johnson. I'm in 7th grade, and I will be reciting the chaplain speech. I'm sorry. I do not want to be an emperor. That is not my business. I do not want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone. If possible, Jew, Gentile, black man, white, we all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We do not want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there is room for everyone. The good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shot ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical. Our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. When the machinery, we need humanity. When the cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The radio, and the airplane have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for the universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions. Millions are displaying men, women, and little children, victims of a system that make men torture and imprison innocent people. So to those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness in men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And as long as men die, liberty will never perish. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brittany Bossity. I'm in 8th grade, and I wrote my own speech. What's one word you hear daily, but you don't recognize it until it's standing right in front of you? Change. We change our clothes, we change our hair, we change every day. But not until a big change happens do we recognize it. Not until we're moving, not until we lose a friend, do we truly recognize change. In the Bible, Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verses 1 through 2, there is a quote about change. This quote states, "To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot." I have long since struggled with this quote, merely because it is true. The fact that I cannot plan out every decision in my life is terrifying. I do not know when I will die. I do not know when I will leave. I do not know when I will pick somewhere to spend the rest of my life, and I certainly did not know when I was going to be born. But at least I know that change is the one thing I can rely on. A time to be born. The gift of life is beyond compare. I have two younger cousins, Hallie and Aria. I remember when the second Aria was born. I was 4. I remember holding her in my arms. She was so small, and I knew at that moment that these girls were going to be the most important little girls in my life. At this point in my life, I could not imagine a life without them. But I suppose at one point I could, and I did. It's funny how we work that way. They were born at the right time. A time to die. Death is a funny concept. You know someone for so long, and then one day they're gone, like they never existed. They're just a picture in a photo frame, a figment of your imagination. When I was younger, I remember spending hours at my grandma's house daily. Whether we were baking a red velvet cake or I was just sitting on our couch, I treasured those moments. All the same, we have a tradition. We go up to the Rockwell family farm and we pick out a Christmas tree. My grandma spends hours searching for every tree. And I never truly realized how important it was to her until this year she couldn't come with us. You see, my grandma is getting on in years, as all people must do, and she couldn't come. But I do not disregard all the years where she was there, where she was picking out the tree and holding my hand. This is not as sad as it may appear. This is the ending of a life, the stages before death. A time to plant. I am only 14 years old, and therefore I do not have much experience with choosing what I will do with my life. So for me, planting was in 5th grade when I decided I wanted to join MESA. That was where I wanted to spend the next 3 years of my life. And so I did it. And I could not imagine the last 3 years without this. The funny thing is, I don't remember why I joined, but I did. And that change was necessary. It was an unpredictable change, and I could never have guessed what would happen. But this was my time to plant, to find an environment that I liked, to find people that would shape me for the better. A time to uproot. To uproot and leave is terrifying. To have someone that you know and depend on leave is heart-wrenching. I have an older sister, and in February of 2024, she decided that she was going to leave for Oklahoma and join the military. She left this year, and I did not write this speech before she left. And this has only now become my reality. I realized how important she was, and I was not ready for her to leave, although I should have been. This change is better for her, though. This was her time to leave, to find something better for her. I personally believe that everything happens for a reason. Change is inevitable. It is the one thing that we can rely on. And the funny thing is, we don't know when these will happen. We don't know if these will be bad. We don't know if these will be good. But we deal, we adjust, and we embrace these changes. And as Mike Dufalo would say, the one constant in change in nature is change. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bella Rossi. I'm in 7th grade, and I'll be reciting Malala's address to the UN. Dear friends, on the 9th of October, 2012, the Taliban shot me on the left side of my forehead. They shot my friends too. They thought that the bullets would silence us, but they failed. And out of the silence came thousands of voices. The terrorists thought that they could change our aims and stop our ambitions. But nothing changed in my life except this. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage were born. I am the same Malala. My ambitions are the same, my hopes are the same, and my dreams are the same. And I even hate the Talib who shot me. Even if there is a gun in my hand and he stands in front of me, I will not shoot. This is the compassion that I've learned from Muhammad, the Prophet of Mercy, Jesus Christ, and Lord Buddha. This is the legacy of change that I've inherited from Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. This is the philosophy of nonviolence that I've learned from Gandhi Ji, Baba Khan, and Mother Teresa. And this is the forgiveness that I've learned from my mother and father. This is what my soul is telling me to do. Be peaceful and love everyone. The wise saying, "The pen is mightier than the sword," was true. The extremists are afraid of books and pens. The power of education frightens them. They are afraid of women. The power of the voice of women frightens them. And that is why they killed 14 innocent students in the recent attack in Quetta. And that is why they're blasting schools every day. Because they were and are afraid of change. Afraid of the equality that we will bring into our society. Dear fellows, today I'm focusing on women's rights and girls' education because they are suffering the most. There is a time when women's social activists ask men to stand up for their rights, but this time we will do it by ourselves. I'm not asking men to step down from speaking for women's rights. Rather, I'm focusing on women to be independent and fight for themselves. Brothers and sisters, we want schools and education for every child's bright future. So let us wage a global struggle against literacy, poverty, and terrorism, and let us pick up our books and pens. They are our most powerful weapons. One child, one teacher, one pen, and one book can change the world. Education is the only solution. Education first.
You did so good.
Hello, my name is Bryson Lounsbury. I'm in 8th grade and I have written my own speech. What is the biggest lie you have ever told someone without even realizing it? Think about that. Mine was telling someone, I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to grow up and have a say in things. I can't wait to grow up and be able to drive and go with my friends. I can't wait to grow up and move out so I can live with my own rules. I can't wait to grow up and eat all the junk food I want without anyone saying anything. This is what I thought growing up was like. But as I'm growing up and living the life my younger self dreamed of, it doesn't feel that dreamy. Having a say in things ended up backfiring, and whatever you say can be turned into a joke. Going out with your friends wasn't those high school ragers you see in the movies. And you don't want to move out anymore. You don't want to eat junk food anymore. You get scared of growing up, scared of what waters the world will make you sail, because sometimes they aren't all that clear. 1 + 1 turned into y = mx + b. Reading my one-worded books turned into chapters after chapters. Being able to play with anyone turned into hanging out with smaller, divided groups. Your least favorite part of the day, which was bedtime, turned into your favorite. And those worry-free days turned into long, stressful weeks. When I was younger, I would get upset if my food wasn't made right or I couldn't get the toy that I wanted. I even got upset when my bed wasn't made for me. I never understood that my parents had to make a meal all 3 kids liked. I never understood that my parents had bills to pay and I already had enough toys. I never understood that my parents were so busy that making my bed was their last priority. I understand. I understand why my parents taught me and my siblings normal life skills at such a young age. My siblings were the biggest part of my childhood. And looking back on all the videos and photos, I could see all the memories and laughter. Doing the dishes with my siblings would always lead to putting so much soap in the sink, it would come out the other end. Doing the laundry with my siblings would lead to fashion shows in my parents' clothes. And those long, boring road trips would always lead to playing submarine in the backseat. My parents let me and my siblings be kids. They let us do this so that when we grow up, we have memories that will last forever and a bond that will never break. Growing up is not all sunshine and rainbows. I think I made that clear. But it doesn't always have to be cloudy, gray skies. Growing up, you get so many more opportunities, such as overnight field trips, or finally being tall enough to ride that one ride you've been waiting for so long. You get more chances to explore new hobbies and improve your talents. You get more freedom with your choices, more independence. There will always be cloudy gray skies, but you have to try to find the sun. It's always there. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jordan Norkin, and I will be doing We Shall Fight on the Beaches by Winston Churchill. I have, myself, full confidence that if all do their duty, if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made, as they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once more able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, to outlive the menace of tyranny, if necessary for years, if necessary alone. At any rate, that is what we are going to try to do. That is the resolve of His Majesty's government, every man of them. That is the will and parliament of the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic, linked together in their cause and in their need, will defend to the death their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. Even though large tracts of Europe, many old and famous states, have fallen or may fall into the grip of the Gestapo or the odious apparatus of Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight in the seas and the oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength here. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the hills and in the streets. We shall fight in the fields. We shall never surrender, and if, which I do not for a moment believe, this island, or a large part of it, were subjugated or starving, then our empire, beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, carry on the struggle, until, in God's good time, the New World, with all its power and might, would step forth to the rescue and liberation of the old.
Hey. My name is Jack Owens. I'm an 8th grader, and I wrote my own speech. Why are we here? No, I am not asking how, but why? Or to word it differently, what is our purpose? Well, to be honest, I cannot answer that. A purpose is not as simple as a label, and it cannot fit into a tiny little box. Nor can someone else tell you that purpose. So let me tell you what I believe my purpose is. In early January, to celebrate the holidays, my family took a vacation going on a cruise from New York City to the Bahamas. This vacation was special for many reasons. One, I'd never been on a cruise before. Two, I'd never been on a vacation this long with my family in many years. I got to see my family enjoying themselves more than I ever had. I got to see my relatives laughing more than I had ever seen them. I loved that laughter. That was my favorite part of that vacation. But there was many things to love. The water slides, the rope course, not going on the rope course. But my favorite part was that laughter. That is what I believe my purpose was, to make people laugh. or to entertain. Throughout my life, I've thought of many different career ideas, whether that be comedian, actor, or author. But at the end of the day, I realized I just wanted to entertain. But I never realized this, at least until mid-February. It was the end of January, and I was leaving my typical appointments in Delaware. Or at least, I thought I was going to. It was the day we were supposed to leave, and I woke up in an extreme amount of pain. So we rushed to the hospital. And for the next 2 weeks, I could not remember anything. But eventually, I regained consciousness. While I was conscious during those 2 weeks, I was in a state of just constant pain and unable to absorb any content. Kind of like Mondays. But once it was mid-February, I learned I had meningitis. I realized many things. I had many reactions to this news. Number one, thank goodness I'm alive. Number two, what is meningitis? But eventually, I started working in that hospital for the next month, till I could finally come back home. But while I was sitting there in that hospital, I thought, what if I didn't get to the doctor? What if I wasn't here today? And that is exactly what had happened. If I did not make it, I would not be here today. And I realized, throughout my life, would I be happy? And I realized, I love to entertain. That is my purpose in life. I realized I don't want to be president. I don't want to blow up the Death Star. I just wanted to entertain a few people. Throughout my life, my friends have told me I'm a very entertaining person. I've also told myself that. It's funny, really. Initially, this speech was going to be on death. But after that day, I realized I should change it. But you may ask, if after a near-death experience, why would you change your speech? Well, I realized death is inevitable. We will all face it. But what we do before death is what matters. Everybody has a purpose. Rich, poor, black, white, man, woman. And we can all choose our purpose. So with my purpose, I chose to entertain. Because that is one of the greatest gifts in life. I realized the people I remember are not the famous people, but it's the little things. The small laughter, the high fives, and going to the movies. But to be entertained is how, I believe, I want to spend my life. So if I can make a few people laugh, I will be very happy with my life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Darby Potter. I am in the 6th grade. This is my first time giving a speech. My speech is called If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but yet make an allowance for their doubtings too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or be lied about, don't deal in lies, or be hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream, not make dreams your master, or think and not make thoughts your aim, or meet with triumph and disaster. treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings, risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose. Start again at your new beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and hold on when there is nothing in you except the will that tells them, hold on. If you can walk with crowds and keep your virtue, or talk with kings nor lose the common touch, neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, and all men count with you, but none too much. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth distance run, then the earth is yours and everything in it, which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you.
My name is Ella Darash. I'm in 7th grade. My speech is called We Climb Amanda Garmin. When day comes, ask ourselves, where could we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We brave the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours. Before we knew it, somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine. But that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes, not to what stands between us, but to what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so they can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That will forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in the bridges we've made. This is the promise to Glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Olivia Eveleth, but everybody just calls me Liv. I'm in 8th grade and I have written my own speech. If you had asked me 2 years ago what a best friend was, I would have given you the wrong answer. But now, 2 years later, going through many friendships, both good and bad, I am now finally able to answer that question right. Before elementary school, my best friend was my brother Jacob. We would play, watch TV, and play fight. that's all I really needed out of a best friend. When I was in preschool, my best friend was my dad. I went to preschool at the high school he worked at, which meant we would spend a lot of time together. I remember every morning he would buy me a muffin and a juice. I would eat them in his classroom while watching cartoons on his whiteboard. I never really cared that I didn't have a friend my age then, because my dad was all I needed. In kindergarten through 4th grade, my best friend was a girl named Evelyn. We had gotten close fast when we realized our birthdays were only 4 days apart. We would play softball and soccer together and would always talk about our silly elementary school drama. I thought I realized what a best friend was when we met. I thought it was somebody who would never talk to you like you're stupid, valued you as a person, and would never judge you. Evelyn was my first real best friend, and I thought at that time that we would be best friends forever. But then I moved. In 5th and 6th grade, I had made a new best friend. I felt a great amount of fear about going into a new school, especially since I would be starting middle school at a new school. I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't know how to make friends. Luckily, there was a girl who wanted to be friends with me. We shared amazing memories. The peak of our friendship, however, had quickly decreased. I didn't notice it for most of 6th grade. I thought that I was being a bad friend to this girl. I thought I was being a bad friend. Whenever I'd want to hang out with one of my other friends, she would get mad at me and really sad. She would ignore me, ask why I didn't want to be friends with her. I thought that I must have been a terrible friend, that of course I shouldn't want to hang out with somebody else for one day. I was her best friend. This means that I should only want to hang out with her. I am a terrible best friend. I feel like I was a terrible friend when I was confident in how I looked. I think I look good today, I would say, and she would say, I hate how I look. I never look good. Look what you did, I would say to myself. You're confident about something she's insecure with. That's not okay. So I wasn't confident anymore. Being confident is braggy, and you're showing off yourself to people who are insecure. You're just making them feel even worse about themselves. I am a terrible best friend. I got into MESA. I'm really proud of myself, and I'm excited to have a better education. This is what I had said to my best friend the summer before 7th grade. I hate MESA. The MESA kids are weird. You're just going to leave me behind. You are just going to forget about me. Why would I join MESA? I asked myself. You're leaving behind your best friend. She is definitely more important than your education. I am a terrible best friend. I learned that distance is sometimes the best thing for a friendship. I learned that distance can make you realize when a friendship has run its course, and it's time to make new friends. 7th grade, I didn't know what a best friend was. It didn't make sense to me that one person should be above all of your other friends, that I could only hang out with that one person, that all my other friends should pale in comparison to them. They're the ones I had to put first. They're the ones I had to tell all my secrets to tell them if I'm going through something hard. I thought that if this is what a best friend was, I didn't want one. I didn't want to feel trapped with one person anymore. 7th grade, I prioritized meeting new people and making new friends, rather than finding one best friend. In 8th grade, I finally learned what a best friend really was, how they should treat you, and how you should treat them. In 8th grade, my best friend is a guy named Jack. We had met in 6th grade and immediately clicked. I'll talk to him about makeup, hair, and clothes, and although he doesn't understand, he always takes an interest in what I have to say. Just like I do when you tell me about Star Wars, some book he's reading, or something to do with his gigantic family. We understand that we're different people, but both want to make the other person happy. Sometimes we want to understand each other, but we never put one another down. Jack has taught me the importance of give and take in a friendship. In 8th grade, my best friend is a girl named Anne. We never used to talk to each other unless we were in a group setting. Through time, we were able to hang out with each other with less and less people around. Up until now, we can hang out with each other one-on-one. Conversations are easy with her. We can stay up on the phone for hours and never get bored. We always tell each other our problems and give each other honest opinions, and we never get mad at one another because we know we only mean the best for each other. Anne has taught me the importance of dependability. In 8th grade, my best friend is a girl named Maya. I became friends with Maya last year when we would go to the coffee shop after school on Wednesday. I had gone close with Maya fast, mostly because that's just who she is. People just want to be around her because she's always a positive impact. She always makes sure that we're smiling and laughing at our best, even when we're not at our best. Maya has taught me what it means to genuinely care for your friends. In 8th grade, my best friend is a girl named Claire. We've known each other since 5th grade, but got in close last year. With Claire, I feel like I can tell her anything. It's not just because she would never judge me, but because she would never tell anyone. When you tell Claire a secret, you can trust that she would never tell anyone. She respects people too much for that. I have found that when I talk to Claire, I feel safe, that I'm talking to her and no one else. Claire has taught me loyalty. In 8th grade, my best friend is my mom. My mom is always there when I need her. She's always there to listen to me about whatever book I'm reading, my silly drama, or just my day. She's always there to support me in whatever I do. Let that be a new sport I'm trying, something new I want to participate in at school, or something new I want to do in the future. And she's always there to give me a hug when I need one. My mom has taught me love. 2 years ago, I would have said that your best friend is the one person you put before all of your other friends, that you care about the most. This year, I learned that the question, what is a best friend, is a stupid one with no real answer. Because no one person possesses all of the traits needed for another person to feel fully fulfilled. That you can't put all of your time and energy into one person, because no one person is able to meet all of your needs. There's not one of my friends that I think are better than the other. They've all helped me throughout my life in whatever ways I need. I can never compare my friends to each other. So now I've come to the conclusion that a best friend is not a real thing. Best friends are things we have in elementary school. We choose a person and decide that they will have that title. In reality, humans are more complex than that. All of my friends are my best friends because they've made me into the person I am today. And for that, I will forever be grateful. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Avery Quinn. I'm in 7th grade, and this year I chose to recite the speech Desiderata by Max Ehrmann. Go placidly, amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender. Be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always, there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career. However humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to a virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere, life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you instead of misfortune. But do not distress yourself with dark imaginings.
Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not, no doubt, the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God in whatever you conceive Him to be, whatever your labors and aspirations. In the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy. Thank you. It feels so good to get over.
Hi, my name is Emma Ray. I'm in 8th grade, and this is my first and last time writing my speech. The first speech I tried to write was about basketball and how it was important to me. But as I went on, I realized basketball is a big part of my life. But my family is a huge part of my life, even if the people I call family are completely different, from different last names, different personalities, and ways of living. Each one has a big impact on my life. My mom always taught me that if I had to say something, it wasn't her choice on what I say. I didn't realize I could finally stick up for myself and send a whole paragraph to my real dad saying things I never thought I'd be able to say to him. When I cried to my mom because I thought I had no friends, she was there. When I needed someone to rant to because no one would listen, she would listen. When I needed to practice foul shots and needed someone to get rebounds without hesitation, she would be there. When there was a period of time I thought school absolutely sucked, she was there telling me that if I tried, I could get anywhere in life. When my dad wasn't being the dad he needed to be, my stepdad stepped in and began being the best father figure I never had before I was 5 and met him. I always wondered what my life would be like if my mom never met my stepdad at the bar she used to work at. But the thing is, I can't. If my mom never met my stepdad, all the 2 siblings I love, even if they annoy me sometimes, I would not have. If my mom never met my stepdad, all of the people that have called me family since the moment I met them would not have been possible. If my mom never met my stepdad, all of the achievements and growth I've made over the past years would not have been possible. If my mom never met my stepdad, the house that we now live at would not have been able to call our own. If my mom never met my stepdad, the friends that I've had that have made me the person I am today and that I love, I would not have. If my mom never met my stepdad, all the daddy-daughter dances that me and my siblings have been able to go to, we would not have been able to go to. And all of the awesome sauce outfits, I would not have been judged on. I have a lot of family. On my dad's side, most I'm not in contact with, but my grandparents are the ones that I still have contact with all the time. My grandparents are more ours than his, supporting me and my mom throughout everything. When we have a problem, they have a solution. They would be there for us every day, all day. Lastly, my Nana and Papa. I remember going to Deer Cap to get ice cream, dinner, going to the lake with pasta salad, and getting a SpongeBob popsicle that I didn't even like, but somehow I ended up getting every single time. And going to bed watching movies I wasn't really supposed to watch, but it was okay because I was at my Nana and Papa's house. My Nana will always be the first person I tell anything to. Whether it's drama or boys, she would be there laughing and agreeing with me, or saying, "Emma, that's a terrible idea. What are you thinking?" They gave me $25, my dad gave me 20. When my dad had 100. Thank you.
Ryan. Just think motivation.
Good luck.
Thank you. I have myself full of confidence that if all do their duty, nothing is neglected to do, and if the best arrangements are made as they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once more able to defend our island and to ride out the storm of war to all of the mess of tyranny, if necessary, for years.
Your mic's on. You're on the mic.
No. Yo, what?
Ryan True. I'm in 8th grade, and I'll be giving my own speech this year. Being kind. This is a simple phrase that can have a huge meaning. Well, what does being kind mean? Being kind can mean holding the door open for someone. Being kind can mean helping someone finish a project. Being kind can mean forgiving someone. These are all simple ways we can be kind to one another, but being kind can mean much more than just holding the door open for someone. So let's say you're having a rough day at work or at school and you're not feeling the best. Well, a small act of kindness can change that. When holding the door open for someone, you're showing them that you care for them, and this can easily make someone's day a whole lot better. A wise person once said that kindness is free to give but priceless to receive. This quote is saying that no matter how small your act of kindness is, it's going to leave an impact on the person you're giving it to because you're showing them that you care for them. On the flip side, when we're not kind to one another, then we're not going to care for one another. So that means when you're going through a rough day, that rough day could turn into a rough week. And that rough week could turn into a rough month because there's no kindness to help you out of it. This just shows that kindness is vital in our lives. And if we didn't have it, then the world would be a much different place than the world we live in today. For me, when I think about kindness, I think about MESA. In MESA, at the beginning of each year, we do some team building activities to be able to get to know the new 6th graders more and to be able to get to know each other better as well. Also, at the beginning of each year, we go on an overnight trip called Brant Pond. And at the end of this trip, each classroom does their own skit in front of the other classrooms. And while they're performing, the other classrooms cheers on and supports the classroom that is doing their skit. This is what makes MESA different from normal school. MESA is kind of like one big family, and there's so much kindness being spread throughout MESA. Overall, we all need kindness in our lives, because it's a vital part in how we live. So next time you see someone who looks like they can use an act of kindness, show them some kindness and see how you can make their day better and your day better too.
Hello, my name is Kaylin Latham. I'm in 7th grade, and this year I'm reciting We Shall Fight on the Beaches by Winston Churchill. I have myself full of confidence. If all do their duty, if nothing is neglected to, and if the best of arrangements are made, as they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once more able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, to outlive the menace of tyranny. If necessary for years, if necessary alone. At any rate, that is what we are going to try to do. That is the resolve of His Majesty's government, every man of them. That is the will of Parliament and the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic, linked together in their cause and their need, will defend to the death their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. Even though large tracts of Europe and many old and famous states have fallen, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the land. We shall fight in the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island home, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the streets and in the fields. We shall fight in the hills. And if, which I do not for a moment believe, this island, or a large part of it, were subjugated and starving, then our empire beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until, in God's good time, the New World, with all of its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and liberation of the Old. Thank you.
Hi, Peter.
My name is Ezra Wilson. I'm in 8th grade and I wrote my own speech this year. Time. We have so much, yet we have so little. The average human lifespan is 72 years, 864 months, 26,280 days. But that's not guaranteed. You could live to 20 or you could live to 100. This brings us to one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves. What do you want in life? This question has the power to shape your entire future. Some dream of wealth, others crave fame, and some just want a place to call home. If you were to have asked me this question when I was younger, I probably would have answered with I want to fly in a rocket ship. Every morning, my parents would ask me if I had any dreams last night, and I would always reply with I flew in a rocket ship. I even would sing songs about flying higher than the moon while swinging on the swing set. If you asked me the same question today, I wouldn't have the same answer. I don't know if I'd have an answer at all. As I've gotten older, a lot has changed. 8 years ago, rockets and space were a big part of my life, but today, those things rarely cross my mind. And I believe this is the bittersweet truth of growing up. Some things we used to love don't hold the same importance to us anymore. C.S. Lewis once said, "You are never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream." This whole quote is very important, but I would like to focus on the last part. You are never too old to dream a new dream. We all had dreams as kids, but it's hard to take a dream you had as a kid and turn it into a reality. Most people believe that it is too hard to achieve, or there's a good chance it's not going to happen. But take being an astronaut as an example. There are 48 right now. Imagine if all of them decided that career was too challenging to achieve. I will leave you with this. As we grow older, there's no denying that life becomes more stressful. We face challenges like getting a job and making money. And this can take you away from what you truly enjoy and make you live a life that you only chose because it was the easiest option. If you ever feel like this, go back to the dreams you had as a kid. You'd be surprised where they could take you.
Hello, my name is Wilder Jones. I'm in 6th grade, and I will be reciting Why Go to the Moon by John Fitzgerald Kennedy. We set sail on this new sea, because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won. And they must be won for the progress of all people. For space science, like nuclear science and all technology, has no conscience of its own. And whether it will be a force of good or ill depends on man. And only if the United States can occupy a position of preeminence can we help decide whether this new sea, or this new ocean will be a sea of peace or a terrifying new theater of war. I do not say that we should or will go unprotected against the hostile misuse of space any more than we go unprotected against the hostile misuse of land or sea. But I do say that space can be explored and mastered without feeding the fires of war and without repeating the mistakes man has made in extending his grip around the globe of ours. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. but its hazards are still hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of mankind, and this peaceful cooperation may never come again. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may as well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? Why does Rice play Texas? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard, and because that goal will serve to organize the best of our energies and skills. And that goal is one that we are willing to accept, one that we are unwilling to postpone, and one that we intend to win, and the others too. Thank you.
Thank you.
One day you can be as happy as you can be, but the next you can think it's the worst day of your life. Life is like that. You never know what's going to happen. Last year, one of my friends told me a quote by Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. Today's a gift, and that's why it's called the present. This quote is true, because if you just dwell on the past and not cherish the things that you have in front of you, that is 100% not a way you should embrace the gift of the present. I remember a time when I was little and I was afraid of death. Something that I was told was not going to happen for a long time. And I was freaking out thinking that it was going to happen tomorrow. But the truth is, we have no control of time. That's when I started to appreciate the things I had in front of me, and making those memories with my family, friends, and peers. I remember one time when I was in Brazil with my family. We went to the beach, and then we went swimming. The tide started getting stronger and stronger, strong enough to even take me off my feet and pull me into the ocean. I felt all my strength and energy wash away with the waves, and I knew I was drowning. I started thinking of all the stuff I was not able to accomplish in life, like start a family, own a Corvette, or be a millionaire. Then out of nowhere, my mom grabbed my arm and pulled me back to shore. I was so grateful, and I started appreciating and striving for the things I wanted to achieve. Usually people would be traumatized by this moment, but not me. It helped me grow as a person. Now I'm doing way better than I've ever done in school. I have a lot of friends and a family who cares about me. Coming back to the point of this speech, if you do not appreciate the gifts of life, if you do not strive for success, and if you do not make those fun memories, then that is not how you should appreciate life in general. If you're at rock bottom and you think all is lost, always remember to look for the silver lining. And the greatest gift in life is to see another day. Thank you.
It was actually, it ended up being on. I didn't know this.
My name is Ivor Minich, and I will be reciting the Gettysburg Address. Oh, I'm in 6th grade, by the way. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place to those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense. We cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be here dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they give the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Hi, my name is Taylor Cousins. I'm in 8th grade, and I wrote my own speech. Christy Evans once said, "Good friends are like stars. You don't always see them, but you know they're always there." When I think of people who have always been there for me, I think of 3 specific people in my life. One of them, which is forced to be, and 2 that I met in elementary school and have been my best friends ever since. My sister has always been there for me. She has been there for me through the goods and through the bads. She has always helped me through stuff and has always been there to listen to me talk about things over and over again till I let go of them. Then, on the other hand, there's 2 people who have been with me since elementary school, and even though we have had our fights, we have always found our way to stick together in the end. And a big concern I have is going to high school and going our separate ways. But then I remind myself all of the hangouts we've had and the deep conversations that could never be forgotten. So even when I think to myself, saying that I have no one to talk to, I do. And among those 3, I have more people I feel safe talking to, like my brother. And many more, and they all play a big role in my life and are the reason why I am where I am right now. All of these people have become my family in many ways, whether they were born into it or have found my way to me since I was born. But even the friends I've met this year, I still consider them family. And it's weird to me to think of how you can go from knowing everything about someone to strangers in a week. And even though that's happened to me multiple times, I truly believe that you can never forget the things about those people if they ever meant anything to you. It's the way the world works. It will bring you closer to the people you need and further from the people who hurt you. That's why we all have people we are closer to and see more. That's all I have, but just think about how your life would be so different if you never experienced those true best friends or had someone to talk you through the hard times in your life.
Thank God, bro.
Hello, my name is Holly Pierce. I'm in the 6th grade, and the speech I chose was "I've Been to the Mountaintop" by Martin Luther King Jr. All we say to America is, be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China, or even Russia, or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges, because they hadn't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read
of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right. And so just as I say, we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around. We aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness, and let us stand with a greater determination. And let us move on with these powerful days, these days of challenge to make America what it ought to be. We have an opportunity to make America a better nation. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead of us, but it doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop, and I don't mind. Like anybody, I'd like to live a long life, longevity in its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go up to the mountaintop, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you tonight, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land. And I am so happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gabriel Voder. I'm in 8th grade and I wrote my own speech. Trust is so complex and yet so simple. It's something that we may have, but we keep looking for more. It's something that we look to find in other people, but we may have scarce amounts to provide others. Everybody is dependent on trust. But what exactly is it? When I look up the definition of trust in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it says that trust is an assured reliance on the character, ability, strength, or truth of someone or something. I personally believe this to be true. Children and adults need to be trustworthy. When I think of trustworthy adults, the first person that comes to my mind is my dad. My dad is someone I can always trust to do good. He always tells the truth and is so loving. My family trusts him, and from my perspective, he is willing and motivated to keep being that trustworthy father I know him as. The second, but just as important, is my mom. My mom is someone that is always there to talk. She will always be there to listen. I know I can trust her, and I know she will be respectful, and I know she won't lie. Lying to someone is not being trustworthy. To be trustworthy is to tell the truth. To tell the truth, even if it might not sound pleasant at the time. Say what is best for someone. If you are relying on a friend for something, and that friend lies to you, you could end up in a whole world of trouble. If you meet someone new and you want to be friends, don't fully trust them until you know who they really are, because they could lie and cover up who they really are and not actually be that person you claim to be friends with. I've known my friend Ezra since kindergarten, my friend Ryan since kindergarten, my friend Jasper since kindergarten, Nick since 4th grade, and Devin since 6th. All of these friends I believe I can trust. With all this said, you need to be able to trust your spouse, kids, family, friends, and all the people around you. But in the end, just be careful who you trust. Thank you. That's right.
Hello, my name is Trey Bedard, and I will be reciting Queen Elizabeth's Spanish Armada. My loving people, we have been persuaded by some that are careful for our safety, to take heed on how we commit ourselves to our armed multitudes. For fear of treachery. But I assure you, I do not desire to live to distrust my loving and faithful people. Let tyrants fear. I have always so behaved myself that under God I have placed my chiefest strength and safeguard in the loyal hearts and goodwill of my subjects, and therefore I am come amongst you at this time, not for my recreation and disport, but being resolved in the midst and the heat of the battle, to live and die amongst you all, to lay down for my God, my kingdom, my people, and my blood, even in the dust. I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and a king of England too. Think foul scorn that Parma or Spain or any prince of Europe shall dare to invade the borders of my realm, to which I myself will take up arms. I myself will be a general, judge, and rewarder of every one of your virtues. Not doubting, but by your obedience, we shall shortly have a famous victory over those enemies, over my God, my kingdom, and my people. Thank you. I just skipped to that's the last part.
Hello, my name is Reese Chandler. I'm in 7th grade, and the speech I am doing is "We Shall Fight on the Beaches" by Winston Churchill. I have, myself, full confidence that if all do their duty, if nothing is neglected, and if the best arrangements are made, as they are being made, we shall prove ourselves once more able to defend our island home, to ride out the storm of war, to outlive, if necessary, alone. We are going to try to do. That is the resolve of His Majesty's government, every man of them. That is the will of Parliament and the nation. The British Empire and the French Republic, linked together in their cause and in their need, will defend to the death their native soil, aiding each other like good comrades to the utmost of their strength. Even though large tracts of Europe and many old and famous states have fallen or may fall into the grip of the Gestapo and all the odious apparatus of Nazi rule, we shall not flag or fail. We shall go on to the end. We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans. We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall defend our island, whatever the cost may be. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. And if, which I do not for a moment believe, this island, or a large part of it, were subjugated and starving, then our empire, beyond the seas, armed and guarded by the British fleet, would carry on the struggle until, in God's good time, the new world, with all its power and might, steps forth to the rescue and the liberation of the old. Thank you.
My name is Ravi Taylor Pond. I am in 6th grade, and I will be performing for you Rudyard Kipling's If. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, and yet make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies. or being hated don't give way to hating. And yet, don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors both the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you. Oh.
Hi, my name is Tashi Williams. I am in 7th grade, and today I will be performing the inaugural address by former President Barack Obama. Each time we gather here to inaugurate a president, we bear witness to the enduring strength of our Constitution. We recall that what binds us to this nation is not the colors of our skin, or the tenets of our faith, or the origins of our names. What makes us exceptional, what makes us American, is our allegiance to an idea articulated in a declaration more than 2 centuries ago that we still bear witness to today. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today, we continue a never-ending journey to bridge the meaning of those words with the realities of our time. For while these truths may be self-evident, they've never been self-executing. For while freedom is a gift by God, it must be secured by his people here on earth. The patriots of 1776 did not fight to replace the tyranny of a king with the rule of a mob or the power of a few. They gave to us a republic, a government of, by, and for the people, entrusting each generation to keep safe our founding creed. And for more than 200 years, we have. Through blood drawn by lash and blood drawn by sword, we learned that no nation founded on the principles of equality could survive half slave and half free. We made ourselves anew and vowed to move forward together. Together, we learned that a modern economy requires railroads and highways to speed travel and commerce, schools and colleges to train our workers. Together, we discovered that a free market only thrives when there are rules to ensure competition and fair play. Together, we resolved that a great nation must care for the vulnerable and protect its people from life's worst hazards. Through it all, we have never relinquished our skepticisms of central authority, nor have we succumbed to the thinking that all society's ills can be cured through government alone. Our celebration of initiative and enterprise, our insistence on hard work and personal responsibility, these are constants in our character. Thank you. Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Devin Coleman. I'm in 8th grade and I made my own speech. Today I will be talking about a word problem that has been a thing since the creation of humankind. This problem is the separation of people. I started thinking about it. This problem can mean many things. For example, two groups of people that have separated each other because of how they look or what religion they believe in. Some go as far as to build a wall to separate each other, which will be all things I'll be talking about today. I started thinking about this when I went to Ireland with my mom. When I was there, we visited many places such as Dublin, Giant's Causeway, Belfast, but there's one place that stood out above them all, and that was Derry. The reason why was because there was a wall built straight through the city. One side were Catholics, and the other side were Protestants. The Catholics were the Irish, and the Protestants were the British. When me and my mom were there, we got a tour of the city and got to sign the peace wall in the middle of the city. Now, you probably don't care too much about what's going on in Ireland, so that's why I will be talking about America. I'll be giving some examples from the past that demonstrate human separation. When the settlers came here, they took over their native land. Then later, we had a civil war against the South, who wanted slaves, and the North, who didn't. The North won, but we still had racism to this day. Now, you may be asking, has or had America ever had walls that have separated people? That's an easy answer, the Mexican border. To this day, there is a wall separating U.S. and Mexico. Now, those are just some examples from U.S. history that demonstrate human separation. And like I said before, we are not the only country that still has this problem. I also think there's no country on this planet that still doesn't have this problem, which is why I'm giving this speech. This problem hasn't gotten much better. We assume too much and know too little, because assuming is easier than knowing. It's like assuming millions of people and you think they're all the same because you've heard something about these people. You never know until you try and talk to those people. And the more and more we separate each other, the less we as humans can accomplish, because we depend on each other. There's lots of word problems, and if everyone doesn't do their part, you'll never accomplish anything.
My name is Gia Brian Revo, and I will be reciting the chaplain speech. I'm sorry. I want to be an emperor. That is not my business. I do not want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone, if possible. Jew, Gentile, black men, white, we all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. And we do not want to hate or despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone. And the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for the universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children. Victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is by the passing of greed, the bitterness in men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And as long as men die, liberty will never perish. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Hannah Grace Duffy Oliver, and this is my 8th grade speech about empathy. Being in another person's shoes. What does that mean? I know that my teachers from younger grades have taught me this. My parents have taught me this, and TV shows have taught me this wise saying too. Now, I'm not actually saying to get somebody else's shoes and to put them on your feet. I'm saying to think about what it would be like to actually be in somebody else's life. For example, imagine being the person sitting next to you. Now, what would be some similarities in your life and some differences? Now, what if you were me on stage? How do you think that you would feel? Simply think deeply, which I understand can be hard in our busy lives. What would it be like to be in somebody else's life? Would you want to be in the shoes of somebody with great wealth and splendor? Or maybe somebody with simple wishes? Now, would you want to be in the shoes of a superhero who can save people from danger and fly? I believe that being in another person's shoes helps strengthen the community and relationships of the people around us. Being in another person's shoes teaches us empathy. Now, empathy means to understand and share or feel the feelings or emotions of another. For example, if somebody is struggling in life, you can imagine how you would feel struggling as them too. I believe that being in another person's shoes motivates you to help people and care for one another. And if we all cared for one another and appreciated one another, the world would be thriving. We could help the homeless, and they would not spend another night on the bench. We could compromise and solve things more peacefully without turning to violence. And we could truly respect one another for who they are. Now, I know that the world is a very big place and that people are not perfect because everyone is a bit weird, and that there's the good and that there's the bad on this earth. And sometimes it is very hard to find empathy and peace. But we still have to try to understand and help one another, because if nobody tried, the world would be a very different place. Now I understand that it is a gift that we can learn to be in another person's shoes and have empathy. But sometimes you need to learn to love and appreciate yourself. I have learned that loving yourself and being who you are is a blessing, because you are here for a reason, and that there is nobody else in the world who is exactly like you. So I say, understand yourself and understand others. Appreciate your life and appreciate others, and be kind to people as you would to yourself.
Hi, my name is Haley Tibbetsot, and I'm going to be reciting chaplain speech. I'm sorry, but I do not want to be your emperor. That is not my business. I know how to rule or conquer anyone. I just like to help everyone. If possible, Jew, Gentile, black men, white, we all want to help another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We do not want to hate or despise one another. In this world, there is room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. The machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical. Our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much, but feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio has brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness of men, cries out for the universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that make men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that's upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. And as long as men die, liberty will never perish. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I took my
Good job,
kidney.
Haley.
Hi, my name is Luna Walker, and I'm in 6th grade, and I'll be doing Gettysburg Address. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and the dedication to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation, so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. Now are met on a great battlefield of that war. We've come today to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives in might that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this, but in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow these grounds. The brave men, living and dead, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated to the unfinished work which they who fought here thus far so nobly advanced.
It is for us to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that these honored dead we take increased devotion to the cause of which they here gave their last full measure of devotion. We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth.
Sit, they loll, and they lounge about, and they stare until their eyes pop out. They sit and stare, and sit and stare, until they're hypnotized by it, until they're absolutely drunk on all the shocking, ghastly junk. Oh yes, we know what keeps them still. They never climb out the windowsill. They never fight or kick or punch. They leave you free to cook the lunch or wash the dishes in the sink. Did you ever stop to think exactly what this does to your beloved top? It rots the sense in the head. It kills imagination, dead. It clogs and clutters up the mind. It leaves the child so dull, so blind. He can no longer understand a fancy or a fairyland. His powers of thinking rust and freeze. He can no longer think. He only sees. All right, you'll cry. All right, you'll say. But what are we to do if we throw the set away? What shall we do to entertain our children? We'll answer this by asking you, what used the darling ones to do before this monster was invented? Have you forgotten? Don't you know? We'll say it very loud and very slow. They used to read. They'd read and read, and then proceed to read some more. 1/2 of their life was reading books. The nursery shelves held books galore. Books cluttered up the nursery floor. In the bedroom, by the bed, more books were waiting to be read. Such wondrous, fine, fantastic tales of dragons, gypsies, queens, and whales, with treasure isles and distant shores where smugglers row with muffled oars, and pirates wearing purple pants, and sailing ships and elephants. Books. What books we used to know. Those children lived long, long ago. So please, please, we beg, we pray, go throw your television set away. And in its place, you can install a lovely bookshelf on the wall, ignoring all the dirty looks, the bites, the kicks, and children hitting you with sticks. Fear not, because we promise that in about a week or two of having nothing more to do, your children will begin to feel the need of having something to read. And once it starts, oh boy, you watch the slowly growing joy as it fills their hearts. They'll grow so keen. They'll wonder what they'd ever seen in that repulsive machine, that nauseating, foul, unclean, ridiculous television screen. And later, each and every kid will love you more for what you did. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Elliot Guptill. I am in 6th grade and I will be reciting the speech, The Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place to those who have gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little know, nor long remember what we say here, but can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus so far nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here have gave the last full measure of devotion, that we highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, that the government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from earth. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Darlene Snyder. I'm in 8th grade, and this year I wrote my own speech. Once you get on the stage, you immediately think, man, I wish I could go back and tell myself to practice more. I mean, if it was that easy to go back and tell yourself things, I would have gone back and told myself a lot of things. If I could, I would go back to when I was 5 and tell my 5-year-old self that just because you're different does not mean you can't be yourself. This is because, growing up in Oakland, California, I grew up as the only white girl in my class until around 3rd grade. I didn't realize I looked different until it was taught. My mom says she has a memory of me looking at myself in the mirror and saying, my skin is different. I remember being told I couldn't play with my friends, or I couldn't play family with my friends because black and white people weren't family. This is when I started to see people different, and I wished I wasn't different. If I could, I would go back to when I was 9, tell my 9-year-old self to sit in those Oakland A seats a little bit longer. Because in a few years, you'll be saying goodbye to the place where some of the best memories made. I remember when it was announced that the Oakland A's were leaving. It was a, no way that's actually going to happen moment. But reality set in at the last game, where me and my father watched the game together, crying our eyes out, knowing that this was saying goodbye. This is when I wished I hadn't taken things for granted. If I could, I would go back to when I was 10 and tell my 10-year-old self to hold on and say goodbye to your best friend one last time and give him one last hug, because in a week you'll have lost contact with him, you'll have moved across the country, and have no idea when you'll talk to him again. I didn't realize this then, but that's what a true friend was. We were at the age where there wasn't fake fights, and we didn't have fake friends weren't a thing, and we just enjoyed each other's company. Even if it was just sitting around, Landon made me feel complete. This is when I wished I'd met more people like Landon. If I could, I would go back to when I was 12 and tell my 12-year-old self that just because someone is an adult does not mean you have to take their disrespect. As a young athlete, being talked down to can be one of the hardest things. I remember during 12U, we were at a tournament. I remember I was put last on the batting order, and We were hitting against a fast lefty pitcher. Nobody had hit off of her all game. I step up to the plate, and I hit the ball right over the first baseman's head. I get onto first base, and I stay there for the rest of the game. After the game, my coach comes up to me and tells me, "Wow, Darlene, out of everyone, you're the last person I would think would get a hit." This is when I wished I didn't let people talk down to me like I didn't have feelings. Now, if you could go back and change all of these things, would you? Would your life be perfect? Now, I'll leave you with this. If you could change one thing, how would it affect you today, and would you still even be here? Shit. Guys, I should have slurred.
Oh no, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, guys.
Can I go home?
Only 5.
Can I go home?
I'd say that. I'm not hopeless.
guys say hello. Hello, hello. I'm good? I'm good? Can you hear me? Eric, can you hear me? You can? Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Before we go too much further, I feel really bad about not even saying anything about the people that I've invited to be the judges with the impossible task that they had before them. So thank you so much for, first off, thank you for everybody for coming and taking time out of your evening and day. But thank you very much to Jay Robinson, our superintendent, coming. Thank you very much for Mike Dufalo of Tin Mountain. Raina Wales, the recipient of the William Oliver Award at Freiburg Academy. Thank you very much. Raina will be going to the University of Alaska to study environmental science. So thank you. Good stuff there. And of course, Lee Hayes is with us. Lee, we spent so many great days on Thursdays or Fridays with the Great Level Land Trust. Thank you so much. All right. I am so impressed. I said, oh, we'll be done in 5 minutes, and I heard the sarcasm. I don't blame you. But that was easily the fastest. Now, I found it funny that it was the fastest, but at the same point in time, I really mean when I said that was incredible. So many students tonight gave their best speech on this stage tonight. They did a great job. If you just don't happen to place, okay, it's not a big deal. You were here tonight, and you did phenomenal. You did phenomenal. Being here tonight, yes. All right. Being here tonight in and of itself is just great. So we'll start with 6th grade. In 6th grade, 3rd place, we have Holly. Yeah. Sorry. In 2nd place, we have Darby. And in 1st place, Wilder Jones. All right, in the hotly contested 7th grade, in 3rd place, Lady Johnson. In 2nd place, Haley Tibertot. And in 1st place, Zoe Anderson. And if the 7th grade wasn't hard enough, then we had the 8th grade. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. In 3rd place, Darlene Snyder. In 2nd place, Avery Jordan. Yes, I just blinked on it last time. And in 1st place, Brittany Bossere. All right. Well done, well done. Pictures. Time to get pictures. There we go. And well done, everybody. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Here we go. All right. Thank you.